In the nation, police call for move over law updates. Governor Healey passes housing bill. Powell pleads guilty in Georgia election case. Mass. To end emergency sheltering guarantee. Massachusetts first responders spoke in front of the State House October 17 to voice their support to expedite the passage of multiple bills by the state legislature. The State Police Association of Massachusetts asked legislators to update the move over law, which currently fines an individual $100 if that person does not move to another lane and slows down while emergency vehicles are stopped on the road. Time equals 400 ms. Greater than. The union is asking for the fine to increase to $250 for the first offense and to charge individuals who injure first responders due to not slowing down and moving over with a criminal misdemeanor. It's about reasonableness, Union President Patrick McNamara said. We need some sort of action greater than what's happening right now. In proposals by State Representative Stephen Sharrows, a former police officer, and former State Senator Ann Goby, the fine would increase to $250 on first offense, and a $500 fine on second offense and $1,000 on third or subsequent offense. According to NBC 10 Boston, McNamara recognized the bill as the Trooper Thomas Devlin bill in honor of the state trooper who died as a result of injuries sustained after he was hit by a car during a traffic stop in Billerica in 2020. Gov. Healey passes new housing bill. Globe Spotlight investigation shines light on Milton housing issues. Time equals 400 ms. Greater than. Gov. Maura Healey passed a housing bill October 18 that should help alleviate the Boston housing crisis. The bill was hailed by housing advocates and business leaders as one of the most ambitious attempts in recent memory to address the state's housing shortage, and could create more than 40,000 new homes, state officials say. According to the Boston Globe, the bill is said to include $4 million for public housing and 28 policy changes. It also touched on taxes of high-priced housing sales and zoning changes, two controversial topics in the city of Boston. This is going to be legislation that will make our state more affordable for everyone. It's going to help us meet our climate goals. It's really, really big, Healey said October 18. The Globe's most recent Spotlight investigation, published October 18, revealed details of the housing issues happening in Milton, a suburb just over 8 miles south of Boston. Time equals 400 ms. Greater than. Milton, as well as most Boston suburbs, is riddled with restrictive zoning laws, making it nearly impossible for apartment building permits to be passed. The investigation reveals that housing prices across the U.S. have risen 6 times the amount they were in 1980. In Massachusetts alone, they've risen 11 times the amount in 1980. The bill also includes the transfer tax, which has been strongly opposed by the real estate business. The transfer tax would be for high-dollar real estate sales and help raise money for affordable housing, according to the Globe. Trump attorney Sidney Powell pleads guilty in Georgia election case. Former President Donald Trump's lawyer Sidney Powell pleaded guilty to charges against her for efforts of trying to overturn the 2020 Georgia election. Powell pleaded guilty to 6 misdemeanors and will serve 6 years of probation, pay a $6,000 fine and has to write an apology letter to the state of Georgia. Powell was charged in this case along with 18 others, including Trump, according to the Associated Press. Former U.S. Attorney John Fishwish described the plea as a significant win for the Fulton County District Attorney. This is somebody who was at ground zero of these allegations and a lawyer who is pleading guilty, he said to the Associated Press. This is very significant. Trump's lead attorney in the Georgia case Steve Sato said Powell's plea will not affect Trump's case. Time equals 400 ms. Greater than. Assuming truthful testimony in the Fulton County case, it will be favorable to my overall defense strategy, he said. Massachusetts to end guarantees of emergency shelter placements. Gov. Maura Healey announced October 16 that the state of Massachusetts will stop guaranteeing emergency sheltering for incoming migrants to the state next month. The state's emergency shelter system is said to be at capacity, 7,500 families, by the end of October. For months now, we have been expanding shelter capacity at an unsustainable rate to meet rising demand. Despite the heroic work of public officials, shelter providers and the National Guard, we have reached a point where we can no longer safely or responsibly expand, said Healey. The Healey administration also announced the appointment of Lieutenant General Leon Scott Rice as the Emergency Assistance Director for the state. The role places Rice with the oversight of the emergency shelter system. Healey said the change will not remove the right to shelter law, which states that pregnant women and families with children who fill certain income criteria must be provided emergency sheltering. Currently, 23,000 people are being housed in shelters across the state, with roughly half of them children, according to the New York Times. In a press conference Monday, Healey called for improved federal intervention. Massachusetts will continue to rise to this challenge. That is who we are, Healey said. But this is a federal problem that demands a federal solution.